Saturday update on I do the 11th of December 2021. Zoya is about to forcefully say Kubul Hain when Asad comes and says Kubul Nahin Hain. Akram and Zoya both shocked seeing him. Asad looks furiously at Akram when Asad says this wedding is not legal as you are not a man since you do not respect women. One of Akram's relative asks Asad to leave when Asad says he won't go without Zoya. Mitwa song in background when Asad takes Zoya in his arms and leaves. He comes out of the cottage when the goons stop him. Asad makes Zoya sit on a bench and waits for them while the goons attack him. Asad beats each of them black and blue and as the process gets hurt on his eyebrow. Zoya gains conscious and looks at Asad when a goon comes to attack her and Zoya trying to save herself injures her hands. Asad then beats the goon while Zoya loses conscious. Asad brings Zoya home, makes her lie down on the bed, she is unconscious. Asad removes his hand from under her head. Zoya flinches as her hand pains. Asad carefully keeps her hand aside. Tu Jahan Main Wahan song in background. Asad turns to leave when Zoya calls him and stretches her hand which Asad grips and Zoya says how Akram forced her to marry but she falls asleep. Asad looks at her for some moments and leaves. He comes out of Zoya's room and wipes the bloodstains and remembers how he thought Zoya always creates some trouble. How Zoya had told she will go and meet Akram. Asad finds Zoya's earring in his sleeve and keeps looking at it. Nizar is taking care of all arrangements and checks with Rashid as to what time he will come home as it's Shireen's b-day today. Rashid rues that he forgot when Nizar says they have arranged a surprise party and asks him to collect the cake while coming home. Rasia tells her hubby that she has spoken about Humaira and Ayan wedding and Rashid Shireen seem to have accepted it. They both feel happy that Humaira will remain in the house even after wedding. Shireen comes to them when power goes off and they get frantic just then all wish and sing happy birthday. Shireen is excited and happy that no one forgot her b-day. Nakat says we were trying to make it a surprise for you. Rasia and her hubby bless Shireen. Ayan tells all this arrangement was done by Rashid Abu. Shireen feels elated. A doctor treats Zoya and tells Asad that she is physically fine but may be mentally disturbed and asks Asad to take care of her. Dilshad and Najma are furious at Asad not talking to him and Dilshad tells Najma to give soup to Zoya at a bakery while Rashid has gone to get a cake for Shireen. Dilshad too happens to be in the same bakery to get confectionery. But their paths don't cross until they collide into each other and come face to face. Rashid says that destiny has its own way and reason to make them meet again and again. She taunts him by saying that maybe destiny isn't done with insulting her that dia dn hence once more. He apologizes for that day on Razia's behalf and says he's not been able to sleep since then. She again taunts him by saying that if her insult was an issue with him, he wouldn't have slept in 17 years, rendering him speechless. He asks for forgiveness but she asks him in return would he have if she chose wealth over love like he did 17 years back and left her with the kids. She says that she's habituated to living without him and doesn't want to change her habit now. She gets her packet by the waiter and leaves while Rashid tries continually to stop her. An onlooker watches while he falls on the ground clutching his chest. The commotion makes Dilshad look back and she screams out seeing Rashid on the floor. The onlooker turns out to be a doctor and she treats him and gives him some medicines. She says that he had an attack of low BP and tells him not to take stress and not fight unnecessarily, which she couldn't help but overhear. She asks him to take complete rest and be stress-free. When she leaves, Dilshad tries to free her hand from his grasp. He resists but then gives in, letting go of his hand. She stands to leave but turns back to tell him not to punish himself like that and that she forgives him for everything. Rashid is speechless. While she leaves Asad's residence, seeing Nazma make breakfast for Zoya, he tells her to go study for her exams, offering to take the food himself. He enters Zoya's room, which wakes her up from the sleep. Despite him telling her not to, Zoya gets up on her own and ALOS refuses his hand that he extends for support when she tries to stand to get water for herself. Asad is frustrated, but doesn't reply. While she walks out of the room, he too follows. She tries to reach out for the jug on the dining table. He offers to do it himself, citing that she's hurt. She retaliates back, saying that she's hurt in the heart, but to see that, he needs to have a heart or emotions himself. She accuses him of sending her to people who drugged her and forcibly tried to get her to marry, when she tried explaining that she had reasons to run from her marriage. She accuses him of being judgmental of her from the very beginning. She says he wouldn't have cared even if she had gotten married because to him, his ego is the strongest. He tries to defend, saying that he didn't know about Akram. She says that it's his problem, that he thinks he knows everything, and that he wants to change everyone's thinking and ideologies to his pattern. He never thinks that somebody could have a different view than him and still be right. He wants the world to rule his way. He is also accused of being orthodox despite being literate, when he judges people's character by their clothing sense. She says that he feels like that girls like her are wrong, and by wearing such clothes invite trouble on themselves. He doesn't even feels he's worry, or else he would have sorry a long time ago. He tries to, but she stops him, saying that now he doesn't need to since she doesn't want to talk to him anymore. Having finished with her energy, she almost falls unconscious on him. And he tries his best to help Zoya even after she lectures him to. He again lifts her up and places her on the bed while she continues with her ranting of not talking to her. After tucking her in her bed, he is about to leave, when she keeps calling him again and again just to tell her that she won't talk to him. Asad is frustrated but doesn't reply back. Ayan's residence, while everybody is waiting for Rashid to return home, Razia starts with her taunts, saying that it's beyond digesting that the person who arranged all this, Rashid, has disappeared himself. Seeing Shirin sad, Nakat and Ayan too are upset. Just when Mamujan gets up to have dinner without Rashid at the table, Ayan happily points out that Rashid has come. He is standing in the doorway with a cake for Shirin. She too smiles seeing him. Asad's residence, while Zoya is given her favorite pizza and Diet Coke for dinner by Nazma and Dilshad. Asad too joins them on the dining table to have dinner. He notices Nazma and Dilshad caring for Zoya immensely. He begins his dinner. Dilshad offers him a pizza slice. He refuses. Having finished, Zoya retires for the night while Dilshad offers to bring warm water for her to relax in the bathtub. Nazma notices Zoya's right earring missing and points it out to her. Zoya freaks out while saying that those were her favorites and had been given to her by her mother. Asad remembers that the earring had entangled itself in his coat sleeve. He tries to tell them, but nobody pays attention to her. Dilshad takes Zoya to her room and a restless Nazma, too, taking Asad's permission, follows. Asad, all alone, remembers his moments with Zoya and is tensed. Ayan's residence. All the children of the Khan family are partying on the eve of Shirin's birthday.
They also try to engage Shirin and Rashid into it. He looks a little lost. They then get onto the cake, WTIHIN commenting that Rashid must have planned loads of other surprises for her. They cut the cake while Ayan stealthily slips a jewelry box in Rashid's coat. Then he pretends as if Rashid got it for her and gives it to Rashid and tells him to give it to Shirin. She is overwhelmed as he confusedly gives the box to her. She finds a beautiful pair of bangles and she comments that Rashid had remembered that she had liked those bangles when she had seen them and thanks him for the gift. While kids get busy in the cake, Shirin takes a piece and feeds it to Rashid, who had drifted away. She comments that she's very happy today and has forgiven Rashid for everything. He remembers Dilshad too saying the same thing at the bakery. Asad at home is trying to bandage himself. Dilshad, seeing this, comes in his room and helps him do it. Before they can talk, he gets a call from someone to whom he says that he wants Akram and his hooligans to go for at least 7 years behind bars and make a strong case against them. He also tells Dilshad that he had handed Akram over to the police, and that he did the right thing since he can't tolerate anyone who can't respect women. He regrets that he spent so much time with Akram yet couldn't notice his personality. She says that he was wrong about Zoya too. She tells him that he has a picture of a good girl, and whoever doesn't fit the bill is classified by him as bad. Zoya isn't bad, just different. If he opens his thinking broader, he would know that it's not right to have a prejudiced, one-sided opinion about somebody. He says that Zoya was wrong too on her part of running from her marriage. Dilshad, remembering Rashid having a panic attack in the bakery, says one mistake can't be allowed to weigh down a person. If life gives a second chance, then they are nobody to refuse life that. He argues that there's a difference between mistake and crime, that the latter is always premeditated. Therefore, even if life gives a second chance, nothing changes since you can't change someone's habits. She says that time just doesn't teach lesson, it also erases the lessons learned. He disagrees with that opinion. He says that people like Zoya never change, and she would know it better as the same happened with Rashid. She says that they were discussing about Zoya and not his father. Just like, he thinks that Akram being wrong doesn't make Zoya right, similarly Zoya being wrong doesn't make Asad right for what he did. He is rendered speechless at this. Zoya, who is wondering about her lost earring, decides to hear some music and puts on her earphones. She has her back to the room. Asad enters her room and sees it all strewn about. He ignores it and, thinking she's listening to him, says that he doesn't know why she ran from her marriage, but it was wrong on his part and poor decision because of which she had to face that, and he's terribly sorry for that. Zoya doesn't respond since she isn't listening. She turns around just like that to find Asad standing, and is immediately surprised and bashes him up again for entering her room when she had so clearly said that she doesn't want to talk to him. He begins again that he doesn't know why she ran from her marriage, but she cuts him short saying that she doesn't understand why is he so interested in knowing why she ran, as if she ran from her marriage with him. Asad is frustrated and speechless. To hearing this, he tries to speak but she bashes him up again for being judgmental and tells him not to talk to her at all. Finally his patience too gives in and they both turn their ways away from each other, deciding never to speak with the other again. Shirin and Razia are discussing about gifts to be sent to Imran's house for the engagement ceremony. Shirin calls Ayan on Razia's demand, who instructs him to keep everything with care and also tells him to take it tomorrow to
Hasina DN deliver the ring personally to her. He leaves. The girls are watching and heave a sigh of relief. Nusrat and Hamera begin to tease Nakat.